most dominant wrestler in the NCAA.
Suited and booted, I'm ready for war. Put the pedal to the floor.
What a athlete, what a great champion.
Back down. When it's go time, I waste no time. Tell them go and cut the cord. And they just keep telling me more.
They've been visualizing this moment all season long and beyond.
The sun sets in the Steel City on what has been a busy day of wrestling, and we reach the climax. A championship feeling in the air as we welcome you to Pittsburgh, the Petersen Event Center, for the finals of the 2020 ACC Wrestling Championship. A number of different storylines intertwined in a day full of emotion. How will it all end up? We are moments away from figuring it all out. NC State's Trent Hidley has certainly provided a spark in his first run. The redshirt freshman making his way to the finals. The seasoned veteran David McFadden looking to bring his third ACC title back to Blacksburg, while North Carolina's 4 seed Clay Lout and the local hometown favorite Pitt's Taylor Bramani hoping to make one final curtain call here inside the Petersen. And a pleasant good evening, everybody. Sean Kinney alongside Rock Harrison. Great to have you with us. Rock, NC State certainly had the bullseye on their back. They went through the regular season unbeaten, and now they enter the championship round in a good position to repeat as the ACC title holder.
Clearly, NC State has performed like the #2 team in the country with 6 finalists. They control their destiny. However, Pitt has 4 finalists, and with a few upsets, they can make a push for the championship as well.
And the Panthers certainly made a move in the consolation round, which just wrapped up within the hour. But again, it's all about chasing Pat Papalizio and the Wolfpack. NC State controlling their own destiny. 74 points, 6 finalists. Pittsburgh has made a move into the #2 spot. North Carolina sitting a distant third. The Tar Heels with the 5 finalists, but the 58.5 points. So really, when you look at it, Pitt, the only team still within striking distance.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to begin the finals of the 2020 ACC Wrestling Championship. Introducing our finalists at 125 pounds. Introducing first to the ACC Wrestling State, redshirt freshman from Pittsburgh, Connecticut, Jacob Camacho.
Jacob Camacho making his way out, the redshirt freshman from Danbury, Connecticut. He entered as the #2 seed, picked up a 5-1 victory in the semifinals earlier against Joseph Melendez. The reigning NCAA finalist from a year ago, 3-time NCAA qualifier, and the defending ACC champion, Jack Mueller, has had a dominant senior season in Charlottesville. He was banged up to start the year, but he comes in a perfect 13-0, completely dominant with 9 bonus point victories this year. Mueller and Camacho, our first title at 125. And automatically right off the whistle, it is Camacho, the redshirt freshman from Danbury, who fires in. Has the single and has Mueller's leg, looking for the inside trip. See Mueller with that whizzer, and he's able to fend off the early attack, and then here comes Mueller right back at him.
Mueller's dangerous from his position because either he goes to a knee tap or he'll do a throw by.
Good scramble continues as Camacho came out of the gates firing. Mueller with some solid defense early, trying to get the first points as he swivels around the corner.
Sean, just a minor thing. When he first came out, they both looked relaxed. When I say relaxed, it looked like Mueller came in there just like he's been here, done it. And then I looked at Camacho. He looked hot, looked like he was smiling, seemed like he was ready for the big lights.
Camacho again coming in on a shot. Waterfall position by Mueller over the top. What a job this redshirt freshman has done. The tip of the sword this year for NC State at 125.
He is wrestling like he expects to compete and expecting to win. He's not being hesitant with his shots. He's going forward, and if he just pops his head out, he's got to push Jack Mueller's leg up and get his head to the outside. But Jack doing a good job of locking up the body and trying to get a stalemate.
And it is Camacho who fires first. So his second real threat, and he produces two, and NC State goes up in this first period, and out of bounds they go.
Good job. We said it, Jacob Camacho has matured throughout the year, and he's going right at Jack Mueller. They had a tight match during the dual meet, and he looks like he expects to win.
NC State has certainly developed the pipeline from Danbury, Connecticut. That might sound familiar for Wolfpack fans. That was the home of Kevin Jack, a three-time All-American, now on the NC State staff helping out. 19-6 mark this year for Camacho, and as Rock said, he has just gotten stronger as the years went deeper, which sometimes isn't the case for freshmen.
He's looking good. He can get a takedown here.
Camacho gets the two, and he started to get the count as well, and Mueller in some trouble. How about this start by Jacob Camacho? He'll get the full allotment of points. And the NCAA runner-up from a year ago in some serious trouble in this first period.
Serious trouble is an understatement. Jacob Camacho was making a statement on national television.
See if Camacho can ride him out for the end of the period. Mueller into a quick standing switch. He'll get the escape. So Mueller, the poised veteran, gets one. And that's how the first period will end. But what a 3 minutes from Jacob Camacho.
Tell you what, Camacho got right in on a single again. Jack Mueller tried to roll through, and Camacho caught him on his back to get a full allotment of 4. Right there, he caught the arm, and Jack Mueller was in a tough position right there. What a great start by Jacob Camacho.
Quick stand up by Mueller, a mat return from Camacho, riding to start this second period. 8 big ones put up on the board. Working the half on the left side of the body of the ACC champ Mueller. Has that leg. Try to return him back down. Mueller into that brief tripod, and he is away. So 8-3, Camacho on top.
Very impressed by Camacho right now. He is going at Jack Mueller.
Pat Popolizio in his 8th year in Raleigh talked about his approach with Camacho. Now, the month of December typically is very tough on the younger wrestlers, dealing with young student athletes who really didn't lose in their high school careers, going through some tough times, and Camacho was one of those guys.
Mueller's trying to put him in a danger position, but Camacho's been good going to that single to the left leg.
Pat Popolizio and the job that he has done in Raleigh. He was named the coach in the spring of 2012. Was given an extension following the 2018 season all the way through 2025, and he has really built something pretty special at North Carolina State. 3 consecutive regular season titles, looking for their second straight ACC championship.
He's right back into that single, and Jacob Camacho's been tough in this single for the whole match.
Stubborn with the leg, he won't give up with that foot. Maintaining control, no points yet. Mueller
either he's going to table it or try to put that right leg in.
Go, you got height, go! You got height!
17 seconds, pretty critical for Jack Mueller not to give up a takedown.
You got height! Pick his foot up!
And a stalemate is called with 11 seconds to go. Jack Mueller looking to become the 17th Cavalier wrestler to win back-to-back ACC titles, but if he's going to do it, he's going to have to rally in the final 2 minutes. George DiCamillo, the last time it happened for UVA back in 2015 and 16. What a career it has been for Mueller. Grew up in Dallas, Texas. He was the finalist last year, losing to Iowa's Spencer Lee, the 2-time All-American. In his final go-around in Charlottesville, starts the 3rd period down 5. Stall call hit. It's tagged to Mueller.
Jacob Camacho is firing shots to that left leg of Jack Mueller and put him in a tough position. He is looking really, really good. A little chest wrap action.
He has been on this lower leg all night, and he continues. Camacho digging hard.
He's got to drive across the body.
And he does. Wow, what a start to this ACC championship round. The redshirt freshman goes up 10-4 on Jack Mueller. Mueller working off the Russian tie, that quick 2-on-1, trying to get something steered. Camacho wisely goes down to both knees near the edge of the mat in front of the scorer's table.
Camacho has shown the nation what's the template to go against Jack Mueller. He's attacked that left leg with that single over and over again, and Jack certainly has not had an answer for the attacking style of Camacho. Going right back to it.
Jacob, wrestle here. Do not relax.
Jacob Camacho won 3 Connecticut State Open championships. He missed most of his senior year due to a knee injury. The family connection with the Jacks to Raleigh. Papalizio firmly entrenched in the Northeast with his recruiting ties. And Jacob Camacho 24 seconds away from pulling off a shocker in the title bout at 125.
Shocker, and the bracket for 125 for the NCAAs is going to be shaken if Jack Mueller doesn't have a miracle in his pocket.
Jacob Camacho peaking at the right time of the year. Pat Papalizio had a little extra enthusiasm in his voice when we talked about this young man from Danbury. He's producing some of the same results Kevin Jack did, the fellow Danbury native. He's an ACC champion in his first go-around.
Impressive. He wrestled as if he's a seasoned veteran. He was calm going out there, and he fired off singles over and over again. What a great job by Camacho, and a great job by Papalizio and the coaching staff. Excellent start to the match.
NC State with 6 finalists, a fleet of Wolfpack wrestlers looking for an ACC title. It's one of their youngest who captures #1, the Wolfpack on the board. It certainly felt like a spring day during our brief break earlier this afternoon, walking the streets of the Steel City. A beautiful, tranquil Sunday night in Pittsburgh as we move to 133. Mickey Philippi, 24-1 on the season, matched up against the 2 seed Jamie Hernandez of North Carolina, the redshirt sophomore from the Midwest, grew up in Aurora, Illinois. In the lineup for the first time this year for head coach Coleman Scott and the Tar Heels. Hernandez in his first ACC final picked up a 7-2 decision over NC State's Jared Tremblay, ready to make his championship debut.
His opponent from Pittsburgh, #1 seed, the redshirt sophomore from Gary, Pennsylvania, Mickey Philippi.
Here comes the defending champion, Philippi, the redshirt sophomore for Pitt, one of 3 top seeds for the Panthers entering today. Both Philippi and Thomas making it into the finals. Harvey was knocked off earlier in the semifinal round. So Philippi and Hernandez for the title at 133. Philippi won a low-scoring bout over Louis Hayes of Virginia, 1-0. While, as we talked about, Hernandez a 7-2 win over the freshman Jared Tremblay of NC State.
Sean, it's critical that Mickey start off quick and effective.
Well, I think he heard you. He is in, not even 10 seconds in with that single. Hernandez immediately in defensive mode. Philippi's so good at finishing, especially when he's this deep.
Don't look to trip.
Looks for that back trip, switches to the double. Still no points there. He gets it. Philippi toward the edge. And it is Pitt, to the delight of this crowd, going up out in front 2-0.
We said it's critical because the coaching staff at Pitt believes that Mickey Philippi is the best mat wrestler at 133. They believe that if Mickey can get on the mat, he's going to dominate anyone in the nation that he wrestles. Now that there's a takedown, it's really a tough situation for Hernandez right now.
ACC champion at 133 pounds. Named the most outstanding wrestler at last year's ACC championship in Pittsburgh.
Philippi was so dominant a year ago in his run to an ACC title in his freshman year, was named the most outstanding wrestler of the ACC championship held in Blacksburg. Has not missed a beat this year, has the one setback, and that was the decision of Sammy Alvarez in the Southern Scuffle. Lost to Alvarez 6-3. Three-time Pennsylvania State champion from Derry Area Community School.
Good follow by.
Hernandez on the counter comes up with 2, and North Carolina grabs the lead.
These guys are going at it. Now Hernandez has a freestyle pedigree, so he's going to be strong on his feet. When you look at the advantages and disadvantages of a wrestler, when you consider these two wrestlers, Hernandez is the stronger wrestler from a neutral position, and while Mickey Philippi has the strength on the mat.
Mention that freestyle background for Hernandez. He was a runner-up at the Junior World Team Trials. 3-3, 2 minutes into this first period. He's a strong 33-pounder. When he arrived at Chapel Hill, he was at the mindset that he was going to be 141, has accepted the 133 role, so he has the strength. Short and compact, the taller, lankier physique opposite him with Mickey Philippi. Will be working with the wrist control. 45 seconds to go, first period.
What Hernandez has to do is crowd the position. Good job by Philippi. He went from one side to the other side. He's going to trip again.
2 for Philippi.
Great job by Philippi. He had almost a Russian, and so he had the Russian on the right side with a sweep single to the other side and finish with a textbook trip.
Philippi has so many weapons in his arsenal when he's in this top position. Number of different ways he can go. Hernandez into a stand-up. Philippi trying to return him. There's a quick switch. Hernandez turns and faces, and now he's in a position maybe to get the reversal. Let's see if he can complete the trip. Nope, he'll get the 1 for the escape right toward the end of the period.
Hernandez just drives through with a back inside trip to get on the scoreboard, and then Philippi brings it up high in the armpit, steps through for the trip to get his second takedown of the match. 5-4, we got a good one going on now.
Philippi started his career at Virginia, transferred to Pitt following the summer of 2017, followed Keith Gavin. Gavin, who was one of the assistant coaches in Charlottesville for Steve Garland, took the head spot in Pitt, and he brought one of his recruits with him in Philippi. Grew up watching a lot of the Pitt Panthers matches in junior high and high school. Always liked the Pitt campus growing up and always held a special spot. Now a chance to represent the Panthers.
Now when you wrestle a guy like Philippi, it's important that you stay higher. When I say higher, when you take shots, he likes when guys stay below his knees, but just like the first takedown that Hernandez got, he stayed high on the thighs, did a little back trip, an inside trip to get the takedown. So he's got to create angles and not wait for a finish. Good hand fight right here. Let's see if Mickey goes back to that sweep single. Before he had control of the right arm of Hernandez and did a sweep single to the left leg of Hernandez.
Jordan Lean, anxious moments for the assistant coach at Pitt. He was with Gavin on that Virginia staff. He was one of the main guys who brought Philippi into Charlottesville. 6'4", Philippi maintaining the lead. Here's a shot by the sophomore in on that leg.
Third time he's been to that leg. Can he get it into the armpit and go to the trip again? To the armpit. He went for a cradle and missed it.
Thinking big move, still has the leg in a position to score, but we're getting close to short time toward the end of this period, and Philippi readjusts for 2.
He's found something with that sweep single to the left leg of Hernandez. Now here's the question, Sean. Is Hernandez going to go on the mat, or is he going to go back to his feet? Philippi goes right back to that single, brings it high, and covers the hip. Interesting. Hernandez took bottom.
This is a big gamble going underneath Philippi, who has a ton of talent in the top position.
Also with 53 seconds of riding time.
Nice job there by Jamie Hernandez. He's able to get away.
And went right to offense.
Comes right back on the attack after securing the escape. Looks for the trip. Philippi dodges the first bullet, keeping his balance on his right leg. But again, Hernandez with control. What's Jamie Hernandez want to do to finish this off?
He's got to move him. The moment that Philippi stays stationary, he gets to do a whizzer wrist. And at this point, this is where Philippi is stronger. Hernandez has got to bring him back to the center. Philippi's giving heavy hips right here and try to bump the legs.
A lot of torque, a lot of pressure coming from the hips of Philippi as he tries to swivel around, and the official jumps in with a stalemate.
When you get opportunities like a defensive-minded wrestler like Mickey Philippi, you have to move him around, get him hopping.
Riding time is not a factor right now. 57 seconds of riding time for Philippi. 1 minute remaining. Third period. Philippi looking to make it 2 for 2 in his young career, capturing ACC titles.
Tough task at hand for Hernandez because Philippi is very good from a defensive standpoint.
Hernandez knows he's going to have to start taking some chances, running out of time, trying to pick up the tempo, changing levels a little bit. Comes in with that high crotch, has the leg. Hernandez now up to his feet.
Hernandez tried to run the pipe, great balance by Mickey Philippi. He's going to try to hold on for his last 5 seconds to get his second ACC championship and get the pit crowd fired up that they got their first champion of the 2020 ACC Wrestling Championship. Well done by Mickey Philippi. Mickey Philippi did exactly what he's supposed to do as the #1 seed. Aggressive, took the shots, finished high, looked dominant throughout the whole match. He's looking to become an All-American for the first time and national champion. Come back and see us.
No change through the first 2 championship bouts. NC State with an ACC champ, the same for Pitt, both picking up 3 points along the way. So the Wolfpack maintaining their 6-point lead over the Panthers. A few moments ago, the top 3 at 125, and Jacob Camacho in his first ACC championship knocks off the NCAA runner-up Jack Mueller. So NC State crowns a champion at 125. 141 pounds, it's the Tar Heels and the Wolfpack. What a year it's been for 12th ranked Zach Sherman, the #2 seed, the Blair Academy product, 25 wins this season. Part of the resurgence in Chapel Hill under the guidance of Coleman Scott. Tariq Wilson was so close a year ago. The ACC runner-up at 133 has successfully bumped up to 141. Wilson dodged a bullet earlier today in the semifinals, and now the All-American from 2 years ago, poised to make a run at his first ACC title. The rivalry renewed, North Carolina, NC State. The road to this final, Wilson nearly got caught on his back. He was dominating the match with Cole Matthews, got caught late, nearly pinned. He survives with a 10-9 win. While for Sherman, this will be his first bout of the day, Rock. He was a winner by injury default. Mitch Moore unable to go. He's in concussion protocol. So here's Sherman, who's been waiting back at the hotel all day. His first chance to step on the mat.
Tariq Wilson likes to get an early start.
And that's what he does. Comes right in, wastes no time, and a quick 2-0 lead.
He likes to get out early and control the rest of the match. So we have to find out, too, with Zach Sherman not wrestling all day, making weight at 9 a.m. this morning, and the first time he gets on the mat is after 7 o'clock. Going to figure out if that makes a difference.
Tariq Wilson, a two-time NCAA qualifier. He had that remarkable run when he hit the world by storm in 2018, powered his way all the way to third place in the country in 2018, upset 3 top 5 seeds along the way, reached the semifinals, lost an OT to the eventual national champion Seth Gross, who at that time was wrestling for South Dakota State.
Pretty important right here that Zach Sherman has to beat Tariq Wilson off the whistle.
It's Wilson's first year at 141.
Sherman will stand up for a second time. Wilson stubborn with his grip. Matt returned toward the edge, and out of bounds they go.
That last time Tariq Wilson beat Zach Sherman off the whistle, but Zach Sherman did a good job to get his knees underneath him to get to a stand-up position.
There was a little bit of a different approach this year for Pat Papalizio and the Wolfpack coaches, and trying to space and prepare Tariq Wilson for this stretch run in March. A lot more work put in as far as the conditioning goes, and the cardio, a little bit less time in the wrestling room. And you know, Tariq was banged up at different times last year. They say this is about as healthy as he has been in his collegiate career.
What a time to be healthy at the end of the year, during the postseason.
A 6-4 win over Ohio's 17th ranked wrestler at the time, Shakara Lady, also defeated Mitch Moore, Virginia Tech, when he was ranked 18th.
Wilson very quietly, over 1 minute of riding time. Remember, he had that takedown not even 10 seconds into the match, so he's been able to ride ever since. Zach Sherman trying to figure out a way to get away, and he does. So a 2-1 lead, Tariq Wilson on top. Approaching the halfway point of this first period. Here's a straight-on double by Sherman. Wilson able to fend it off.
That was a great shot. Strong hips by Tariq.
The top 3 finishers at 133 pounds. Please report to the awards area. The top 3 at 133.
Good. Push that elbow down. Good. Push that elbow down. Push that elbow down. Try to get to the body.
Stalemate into the center we go. Minute 8 remaining, first period. 2-1, Tariq Wilson out in front.
Yes. Snap after it. Snap after it. Keep him honest.
Zach Sherman has been climbing the ranks throughout the course of the year. He had that strong showing at the Midlands, placing 3rd.
Tariq needs to go back to that single. He does a single, not head to the inside, but he puts his head right into the guy's thigh.
3 hands. 35. Yeah. Snap after it.
Zach Sherman has to take 2 shots. When I say 2 shots, because you have a long wrestler like that, the distance to get to his legs are a lot longer. So he has to step and get Tariq to move in order to get to his legs. Similar to what his coach did at Oklahoma State, Coleman Scott would just do stutter steps to get people off balance.
Worked pretty well for Scott in his 5th year. Coleman, the NCAA champion for head coach John Smith back in 2008, wrestling for the Cowboys, the Olympic bronze medalist as well. First period over, Wilson behind the early takedown and a 2-1 lead.
Right off the whistle, he just drives through, gets the takedown, and accumulated 1 minute and 13 seconds of riding time. And at the end of the period, these guys are going at it. Shot, reshot, changing levels.
Caution on Sherman in the top position. You are given a couple of cautions before a point is awarded on the 3rd call. Sherman trying to jump the gun a little bit. Coleman Scott talked about the maturity he showed last year, really utilized his red shirt effectively. He was an NCAA qualifier as a true freshman 2 years ago. Went 1-2 at Nationals. This is his 2nd ACC championship appearance. He went 1-2 in his first experience as a freshman in that 2018 season. But you know, you see a lot of these athletes and how they utilize the red shirt, and we've seen case after case where, you know, the maturity is usually the biggest thing that jumps forward, because it's not easy to go through a red shirt year as a wrestler.
Very true. And you do have to be mature to use the time wisely. It's not a year off, it's a year to get better.
Good job there by Wilson. Oh, he's so quick on his feet. He gets the escape and a 3-1 advantage.
Minor thing that he did a cut through to the mat. Sometimes when you're in a standing position, people just want to turn in. But what Tariq Wilson did, he did a cut through all the way to the mat to separation. Now, this is where history has shown that Tariq Wilson kind of slows down. He gets a good lead and kind of holds onto the lead. We saw that with the match in the semifinals. He's got to make sure he keeps the offense going. And just like that, Sherman's right in on the leg.
Sherman hoping to get a trip. Has plenty of time. He's going to reposition. He'll drag Wilson back into the center. You'll see a very patient approach from Zach Sherman. Again, the trip attempt, switch to the double, toe drag with his right foot, and 2 points awarded.
Right in there. As you said, Sean, he took his time, brought Tariq back into the middle, and waited. And got a trip, covered both ankles. And let's see if he can kick a monster ride on top.
Hey, keep it on him. Keep it on him.
Ready, set. Covered hold, green. One, two.
Tariq Wilson close to popping out for 2 on the reversal. He'll settle for the 1. Sherman was able to get out of harm's way when it looked like he was in a vulnerable position.
Good body awareness by both wrestlers. Let's see if Zach Sherman keeps the pressure on. Tariq Wilson has slowed down considerably since he blew up in the first 10 seconds of the first period. And just from looking from an official standpoint, you want to make sure that your back is towards the middle of the mat and not towards the out of bounds.
On his wrist. Good.
Neutral. Green chooses neutral.
Sherman takes a little ankle pick, and not just rushing it, but he made sure that he brought the leg in, took his time, worked for a back trip, and then he gets the finish by reaching for the far ankle.
Sherman submarining in low, has it deep on Wilson. Tariq able to fend it off again. We've seen that defense a couple of times. Strong hips by Wilson, springing back up.
Sherman is getting stronger and stronger as the match gets longer and longer.
See Sherman feeling a little bit more confident on the feet. A couple of shots by Wilson as headgear gets knocked around his mouth, so the official will step in and allow him to readjust. Austin O'Connor, an All-American for North Carolina, on deck. Bryce Indonian, the freshman for Virginia Tech. O'Connor Indonian, 149 as our finals coverage continues on a Sunday night from Pittsburgh.
I see if Sherman goes back to that little low single that he had.
And if you're Wilson, how do you get some of that momentum built back up that you had in the first period?
By wrestling. And Tariq, he's got to watch himself because he's not being as offensive. He's being reactive, but not offensive. And his back is to the out of bounds.
The two wrestlers shooting at the same time. They cracked heads. Sherman was a bit lower. No points awarded yet. Sherman with that toe barely scraping, and here comes the brick from North Carolina. They're going to challenge it. A brick coming in from assistant coach Tony Ramos. Gary Wayne Harding also in that corner for the Tar Heels.
Now what they're looking at is that takedown, attempt rather, that Sherman had. It is reaction time. So reaction time is very subjective. So head referee Kevin Lynch believed that reaction time was not enough to merit a takedown. So now when you look at it, he shoots straight on. Looks like they almost clash heads. He drops down to a single and reaches over for the far ankle. Now the question is, we're in slow motion, so in slow motion it looks like it's a takedown. But in real speed, we're not sure if it was beyond reaction time. And that's what the video reviewer has to decide. Was it beyond reaction time, and was it control? Two things they're looking at, reaction time and control.
One thing that's a little bit different from the Friday night duels and a good chunk of the duel season, we do have an independent review, and that is Gary Kessel. You see Gary in the brown blazer talking with the officials. He is the independent review official for all of these finals matches tonight. The call is overturned. The brick is given back to assistant coach Ramos, and North Carolina goes back out in front.
Reaction time, and it's subjective. Great that we have an independent reviewer in the ACCs and not putting pressure on their officials to overturn their own call.
You knew Wilson was going to be ready off the whistle, but so was Sherman. And the momentum carries both wrestlers out of bounds. This is going to be a fun finish. 45 seconds to go. Each team, by the way, given 3 challenges to start the day. You have to use the 3 challenges throughout all of the rounds. You only get 3 as a grand total. So each one very valuable, and these coaches trying to space them out so you have one in your back pocket for this final round. In the meantime, Sherman continues to ride. Boy, look at that strength by Sherman. Wilson has the momentum going back toward the mat, trying to return into the mat of action, yet Sherman with that right arm able to show the strength to keep it.
This is all mental toughness right now. 30 seconds left between being an ACC champion and not.
Remember, riding time is not a factor, so if Wilson can figure out a way to get free, we possibly could be heading towards sudden victory. Tariq Wilson looking at the official for the start. Quick stand up. Sherman drapes over to the left side of the body. Again, a solid return back by Sherman. And they go out of bounds. So if you're Wilson, you're getting these fresh starts. That's what you want underneath to start off the whistle.
And what Sherman is doing, he's going to the ankle and then he's going to a claw ride. So he blocks the ankle so that Tariq can't stand up, and then he goes right to a claw ride.
Pat Popolizio in the distant corner watching. Again, It is Sherman, a familiar sight, continuing to ride. Roll attempt by Wilson. Now a set and a possible switch for Tariq Wilson. No points yet. If Wilson can somehow pop and get the reversal late, a mad scramble, clock to 1. Sherman hangs on, and now the brick comes in from North Carolina State. So hold on, a brick and a challenge from the Wolfpack.
Absolutely the right call to make a brick. You can't take him home, and it's very specific on what Coach Adam Hall is asking. He can't say he should have been this. They got to make sure that they ask the right question. If you don't ask the right question, then the video reviewer will not look for what you expect. So we had a little scramble here. Tariq Wilson goes in and he looks for a little hip heist, looks for a little switch, almost a Petersen, but does he gain control? Again, we're seeing it in slow motion. So slow motion, it looks like he gained control, but in real time, did he gain control? And the question is, did he gain control or did Zach Sherman lose control? If he loses control, it's 1-1. If he gained control, then that means that Tariq Wilson is your ACC champion. So it's very specific on what they asked. Did they ask to see if Tariq Wilson got the reversal or did he get one for the loss of control? That makes a difference.
And you could read the verbiage from assistant coach Adam Hall. He was looking toward Donnie Vincent. He was looking off into the corner toward Coach Popolizio, wanting to know, hey, what do we want to approach with this review with?
Once again, if they're looking for reversal, that's all they're looking for. If they say there was a loss of control, that's a different set of criteria.
Gary Kessel has reached a decision. No change. Call is confirmed. And for the first time, Zach Sherman is an ACC champion. The Tar Heels raise their arm in victory.
What great mental toughness. He had to ride out Tariq Wilson for the last 30 seconds. He got a takedown off of a great brick call by his coaching staff, and then he was mentally tough to wear down Tariq Wilson. What a great job by UNC to get their first champion of the tournament.
It wasn't that long ago that the ACC's best gathered in the streets of Pittsburgh for an ACC championship. Back in 2015, the Petersen Event Center hosting these ACC wrestling championships. And here we are, ready to march into 149. North Carolina, fresh off a ACC title with Zach Sherman. The Tar Heels look to make it 2 for 2. Austin O'Connor, the top seed, the returning All-American who placed third a year ago, matched up against the redshirt freshman Bryce Andonian, and another youngster in this conference. That's what's so special about the ACC. Yes, they have 4 teams ranked inside the top 10 pretty much for the entire season, but this is a conference that's only going to get stronger over the next couple of years because of the youth and because of the Olympic redshirts being utilized by some stars.
You're absolutely right. With Bryce Andonian, he's going to see if he can do what Jacob Camacho did a couple matches ago and go out there and wrestle like you expect to win.
His opponent, the top seed from North Carolina, the redshirt sophomore, Illinois, Austin O'Connor.
And here comes Austin O'Connor. Coleman Scott told us way back in early January that this is the guy that they're hoping can catapult North Carolina wrestling and capture that NCAA title. It's been a while for the Tar Heels. 1995, the last time it happened. The great T.J. Jaworski capping off his career with his 3rd consecutive title. So kind of the upstart we saw with Virginia Tech, with Mekhi Lewis capturing the Hokies' first title a year ago. Coleman Scott hoping to get that from Austin O'Connor. Rock breakdown O'Connor style. What makes him so special, just a sophomore?
He goes right at you, and he's got heavy hands. Heavy hand, bangs on the head, controls position, and when you get in on his legs, he's going to give you heavy hips. He's a guy that's just a typical prototype tough wrestler that's going to bang your heads and keep...
Boy, he gets tossed over by Andonian, who's the big master of the moves, and here comes the brick. No points awarded, and a quick challenge. A little more than 30 seconds into this one, and the challenge from Virginia Tech.
Another challenge, and we see over and unders, and Andonian just throws. Now, the question is, was control established? And the control being established is subjective. But the fact that he tried to throw the number 3 ranked guy in the nation is just showing he is going for a win. And so the question is reaction time. The hand touch rule is only for hand touch in a rear standing. In this position, it's going to be the decision of the video reviewer to say, was control established? And if not, then it was the right call by the official. But if control was established, it's a 2-0 lead for Andonian. Pretty important for a freshman to go out there and get a good start.
It is a real quick look by Gary Kessel. No takedowns. Call stands. Virginia Tech loses a brick. They're down to 1 remaining.
Oh, good slide by.
Here comes O'Connor right back on the offensive after nearly giving up the 2. Austin O'Connor, the top seed for the Tar Heels, in a position to get 2 when he does.
2 points.
Now, even though Andonian didn't get that takedown, it's showing that he's ready to compete, he's ready to wrestle, and it's going to bring some confidence to him because he knows that he can go with the number 3 guy in the nation. The first time they wrestled, Austin O'Connor was just physical, out-muscled him, and that was a low shot right to a double. Really nice.
Well, I think that throw attempt has certainly caught the attention of Austin O'Connor. 2 straight shots. Here comes Andonian looking to get the reversal. He's able to. And a 4-3 lead. So how about the early fireworks in this first period?
You can't overstate confidence. And these freshmen have shown that they are confident in wrestling on the big time.
It's like Andonian looking for a possible cradle, instead drops to the ankle. Bryce Andonian, he's a St. Edward's guy, and that's familiar. Ty Walls, the big heavyweight for Virginia Tech. He also was a St. Edward grad, one of the premier wrestling programs in the country. Roby with the connections in Ohio from his days in Michigan, and he has steered some athletes down from the state of Ohio throughout his tenure, first as an assistant coach to Kevin Dresser and now as the head Hokie in Blacksburg, and he found a good one in Andonian. Oh, look at O'Connor possibly in a position to get the 2, and he does. Comes around on that backside, establishes the reversal. Now drives Andonian down.
There's a lot of action in the first period. Back and forth, takedowns, standing reversals, lats. Pretty important for Andonian not to slow down, because as the match progresses, historically, Austin O'Connor gets stronger.
O'Connor placed runner-up in last year's ACC championship at 149.
Roll attempt by Andonian, but he runs out of real estate. We were both laughing on the phone this week with the Virginia Tech coaches, and in particular Tony Roby. He says, yeah, sometimes we got to dial Bryce down a little bit, get him to relax. He's a high motor type of individual. Pull him back a little, high strung. Energy efficiency, I think, is the words that he used when trying to manage this talented freshman.
And that's why Coach Roby is a good coach. He knows what he needs to do to get the best out of his wrestlers.
On a roll by Andonian, he kicks free, and he'll get the 1 toward the end of the period. Unanswered points, and that's a big one by Virginia Tech.
Starting off, he tried to do a throw to the number 3 ranked wrestler in the nation. I mean, I love when freshmen just have no fear. But then, just like the professional that he is, Austin O'Connor comes right back and starts to try and grind and wear down the redshirt freshman. A little bit of contrasting styles here. We have one that has a kind of a banging hand style, and then we also have Andonian, who's kind of a just throwing and just kind of throwing the whole kitchen sink at you. So contrasting styles, but yet very, very good wrestlers.
Don't forget, Thursday night, we'll have a top 10 women's lacrosse matchup right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. Number 4 Syracuse takes on 10th-ranked Virginia under the lights in Charlottesville. The Orange lead the all-time series 12-11, but have beaten the Cavaliers 9 of the last 10 since 2013. And then this week we'll have Friday night baseball for you. North Carolina, 12th-ranked Duke, starting a big weekend rivalry series from Durham Bulls Athletic Park. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern. ACC baseball all season right here on ACC Network and live on the ESPN app.
It seems like each time Andonian steps up, he tries to reach back for a whizzer. And when he reaches back for a whizzer, immediately Austin O'Connor goes for a bear hug. So Andonian has to watch that, because if he gets a bear hug, he can get in trouble.
This weekend, time for Virginia Tech's lead and falls with 6 on the year.
One point given Andonian, and it's now 6-5. Neither wrestler able to get any type of separation. Halfway through, getting to the halfway point of the second period.
Critical time to match for both wrestlers. 6-5 match. A takedown by Austin O'Connor opens it up, and a takedown by Andonian puts him right back in the match.
Straight on double by O'Connor, but you saw the hip strength by Andonian. Looked like O'Connor was in fairly deep. Now he switches to that leg, and they tag Andonian for the stall as he worked his way off the mat.
And you can see it. Austin O'Connor's getting stronger and stronger.
Again, comes straight on at the freshman for Virginia Tech. Let's not forget, O'Connor started the season banged up, injured his hand early in the year, and he talked about his oxygen levels and how it took him really quite a while to get the conditioning down back in it. He was still able to do a lot of the wrestling, but some of the conditioning from competing each and every day during that month, December, took its toll, but he clearly is in postseason form today.
And he's going at it.
He just keeps shooting.
See, Andonian's going to try and just stay locked right there for a short time. Oh, he gave it up. Still locked in crotch.
This is a wide open class when you start looking at the national pitchers. Sammy Sasso, Pat Lugo, and the strong presence of the Big Ten. O'Connor nestled in comfortably in that number 3 spot. Remember, O'Connor this year, his loss was to Pat Lugo. He lost by decision 8-4. That's been his only blemish.
And once again, that was after his second event of the season, so he wasn't in the shape that he's in right now. And that's no knock on Lugo, but when you wrestle someone that just pretty much got his wind underneath him, it makes a difference. Now he can reach back and see if he can get a cradle here.
Job there by O'Connor. Andonian let his defenses down for just a split second. O'Connor shooting in low. He's in a pretty good position here. You'll see him try to keep swiveling around, trying to clear his hips and his leg, and 2 has been established. So O'Connor goes up 8-5, a little bit more breathing room in this matchup against the freshman. And oh, look at Andonian come right back. Isn't this fun? Back and forth we go, 8-7.
Now, I'm not going to say that call was premature, but it seemed a little early.
Now, one thing Andonian was able to do with that reversal and the brief ride, he took away the riding time advantage. So now a takedown could tie it up. So that was significant for Virginia Tech.
Stay disciplined.
Here we go, Sean. About to be a sprint. Right, he's got to do something. He just can't wait. Austin O'Connor has the lead, and he has heavy hands. So at this point, Andonian has got to try something.
Here he comes, straight on. Looked like O'Connor was ready for it. This is a time eater toward the edge of the mat. Throw attempt by Andoni, and he took a chance, and O'Connor seals the deal. So last year, a near miss. He was the ACC runner-up. Did not slow him down a bit at Nationals as he made the run, the All-American podium right here in Pittsburgh. And now, for the first time in his sophomore campaign, he is 6 seconds away from clinching an ACC title. Granby roll. A late push by Andonian. Did he get the 2 at the end? It doesn't matter. Austin O'Connor, the top seed, ranked number 3 in the country, with his teammates watching. His head coach Coleman Scott in the corner raises his arm, an ACC champion for the first time.
2 for 2 right now. And you can see the strength of both wrestlers, that they're working together. Sherman and O'Connor. O'Connor did a little back trip to get the takedown, stayed in control, always composed. Even though the freshman kept fighting, it was Austin O'Connor that stayed in control to get his ACC championship.
North Carolina with back-to-back champions, both first-timers. Zach Sherman started it at 141, a hard-fought victory after going to replay over Tariq Wilson. And Sherman, who has been ranked in the top 10 pretty much the entire year, he is an ACC champion for the first time in his career. And North Carolina behind their back-to-back titles at 41 and 49. Pushing up into that number 3 spot, but NC State and Pitt just 6 points separate the Wolfpack and the Panthers, and we get set for a head-to-head showdown at 157. Taleb Ramani, an ACC champion way back in 2017, ready to make his appearance, his final time inside the Petersen.
His opponent, the top seed from NC State,
Hayden Hidley, the 2-time ACC champion, looking for his 3rd consecutive title. He was a national runner-up 2 years ago. Hidley has never lost to an ACC opponent in his career. Flat-out dominant for the Wolfpack. Hidley ready to go. Ramani of Pitt. Head-to-head we go. It's Pitt and NC State, the 2 top teams right now in the conference standings, and this is a must-have. But look at Hidley. He was close to clinching a cradle early. Switches to a double. Hidley right off the whistle. Ramani with a terrific scramble. Somehow avoids giving up points.
I don't know how he did it. That looked like Hayden Hidley was definitely about to get 2 takedowns, but Ramani just did some wizardry right there.
Hidley still working, trying to maneuver, trying to free up his arm to reposition. He will. And he establishes the 2. So Hidley stuck with it like we've seen him do throughout his career. No surprise there. And a 2-0 lead.
Ramani's got to continue to wrestle. He's got to throw the last result they had when Hayden Hidley tech fouled him.
Hidley was able to pick up a major decision over Virginia's Justin McCoy in the semifinals, and now he's going to get a count. And he's tilted Ramani, and he will get the full allotment. Not in a position to get the full, but he will get the 4. And just like that, a 6-0 cushion for Hidley.
Man on a mission right now. Not satisfied with being an All-American, but he wants to be a national champion. Hayden Hidley is looking tough.
He is a perfect 23-0 in his career against ACC opponents. He has outscored them 235 to 82. Looking for his 3rd straight ACC title. 10 different Wolfpack wrestlers have done it, most recently the big Gwiz, Nick Gwizdowski, during his run from 14 through the 2016 campaign.
Entering tonight's championship, Hidley outscored ACC opposition
Romani has some work to do. Down 6, trying to figure out a way to get out from underneath. You know, we've watched a lot of Hayden Hidley. Where would you say he's grown the most from his first 2 years? Obviously a near miss his freshman campaign, All-American a year ago. Where's he's taken the next step this season?
Diversified his offense. He's always been the one that had the underhooks, but now he works well from the short offense. But as you see, he's getting tougher on top. And when you see a guy like Romani kind of moves his body, he goes from one side to the other side. And that's just being lucid on your feet and on the mat.
Hidley put all of his attention, 100% of his attention, toward capturing an NCAA title this summer. Wolfpack fans did not see a lot of him competing in as many freestyle tournaments as he's done over recent years. In fact, they shut him down a little bit this summer. Pat Papalizio wanted him fresh coming into this season. Hayden Hidley, one goal in mind, and that is to win a title for North Carolina State. Has put in the time, and certainly a dominant campaign, just a junior. A homecoming of sorts, Lewiston, Pennsylvania native.
Now, every time Hayden Hidley gets the underhook, Romani controls the tricep and the elbow. And he also gets good head position on the side of the underhook. And that's how you defend the underhook. Get head position and control the elbow. Once again, he's controlling the tricep. See if he can create his own offense from here as opposed to just stopping Hayden Hidley.
Strong start by Hidley in a 6-1 lead as we move to the second.
Here's just a tilt from here, and it gets the 4 swipes, gets 4 points, up 6-1.
Seven-1 advantage for Hidley. Last year becoming an All-American for the second time. That's only been done a couple of times at North Carolina State. Look at that shot. Again, switching to the double when he is in deep on Romani.
And Romani just gets into position where he can control his own hips and control his opponent's hips. I mean, that shot was just pure perfection. But Romani just somehow got his hips low, kept his hips away.
And forces the stalemate.
That was a slick shot. Even better defense by Romani.
Yeah, not too many survive that deep a penetration by Hidley, but Romani able to do so. But the question for Romani is, can he get some offense going? Minute 10 and counting, second period. Comes that underhook by Hidley, his main setup.
Now, even though Romani was defending the underhook by putting the head to the same size underhook, Hayden Hidley also has a good throw by, where he can still throw you across your body. Trying to run the pipe here and gets a takedown.
2 points on the ACC takedown.
Controlling the mat. I mean, this is what we've come to learn and see from Hayden Hidley. Controlling all 3 positions.
30 seconds. Come on, Taylor, we gotta get one. Bring your line there. Bring your line there.
Come this way. Come this way.
Hidley working on the arm.
Use your knee. Gotta use your knee.
Wrist trapped underneath as well. Romani rolling his way through, but Hidley sticks with him, closing down the second period.
Every time Romani rolls, Hayden Hidley lets him roll and just gets to be a step ahead of him.
Workmanlike performance from one of the elite wrestlers in college wrestling. A junior from Lewistown, 2-time All-American, took second 2 years ago, finished 4th in 2019, and the perfect mark against ACC opponents. You go back to 2018, lost to the 2-time champion from Penn State, Jason Nolf, 6-2.
Ready to reattack. Stay in good position. Keep our hands and feet moving. Tap and go.
Hidley is a guy who has responded to a lot of pressure throughout his career. Remember, after redshirting in 2017, he entered the NCAA's unbeaten, and he carried the #1 seed into that championship.
And wrestled Jason North pretty well. And some may argue that Jason North had an injury.
Hey, cut it back.
It doesn't matter. He's still Jason North.
Speaking of three-time ACC champions, that's what David McFadden will try to do for Virginia Tech. The 3 seed has returned to form on this Sunday of championship wrestling, matched up against Pitt's Jake Winsel. And you start to think team race a little bit, NC State controlling their own destiny. This is a must-have for Pitt. And there's 2 for the first time. Romani finds some offense.
That was a knee dip high crotch. The only day he didn't penetrate, he just dropped the knee and hit a high crotch. Really slick there. Now Romani is going to continue to wrestle, but what Aiden wants to do is get the major decision. He's got riding time locked up, so it's essentially an 11-4 lead.
3 team points at stake with a win in this championship. You go from 7 to 10, the first place points awarded, and as Rock was talking, you always have the capability of securing bonus points as well, and a major decision would be an additional bonus point.
Drop down. Can he run through?
Yes, he can. Hidley with authority, 2 more. And it's only fitting that he captures his 3rd consecutive ACC championship in bonus point fashion. After all, he's been a bonus point machine throughout his career. And younger brother Trent, who will be up in a little bit, big smile on his face from the corner. And the rest of the Wolfpack contingency getting used to this sight. An ACC champion, Hayden Hidley, heading to Minneapolis. All engines clicking right now.
Looking good. He wants to not just be an All-American, but the way he's wrestling right now, he's going to be a national champion. Way to go with Aiden Hidley and the Wolfpack.
Welcome back to Pittsburgh, and the host Panthers falling a little bit further behind. North Carolina State delivering a critical blow to the Panthers' hopes of an ACC title. NC State now with a double-digit lead. Just a few moments ago, Austin O'Connor at 149, capturing his first ACC title. Sherman O'Connor both go back-to-back at 141 and 149. The stage is set, 165 pounds. It will be David McFadden, 3-time All-American for Virginia Tech, looking for his 3rd ACC title. He won a championship at 65 2 years ago, bumped up with the arrival of Mekhi Lewis last year, won a title, and now looking for his 3rd straight, back at his comfortable weight at 165.
McFadden is a man on a mission. He seems to perform at the end of the year. And at the beginning of the wrestling season, he was performing strong. And then he had that head scratch with the Tech Fall loss to Kennedy Monday. But he looks like he's ready to claim a title.
Jake Winsel, first up for Pitt. It's been a great story for Winsel this year. He tore his ACL in February of 2019. Here we are, a little more than a year removed from ACL surgery. He is wrestling for an ACC title. McFadden has been on a mission all season long. He is looking to become Virginia Tech's first 4-time All-American. He has a pair of 5th place finishes at Nationals along with a 6th place finish, with Mekhi Lewis utilizing the Olympic red shirt this year. McFadden bumps down into the 165 division. The 2 shake hands and we are off. McFadden, Virginia Tech, Winsel, a Pitt.
Winsel is going to go for his underhooks, and McFadden is going to stay to the outside with his sweep singles. Also, McFadden likes to create scrambles. So fundamentally sound, Jake Wenzel has to stay with a good stance and avoid the situations where scrambles can occur.
Both of these wrestlers coming off ACL injuries in their career. You go back to David McFadden. He missed all of 2017 after tearing his ACL. Actually, the injury happened at the NCAA championships in the spring, so that cost him the 2017 season. And for Wenzel, as we talked about, his season cut short just a year ago.
Wenzel, he does a throw by here, or he'll do a trip. David McFadden did a good job of keeping his hips away. But Wenzel was trying to jack him up and control the hips.
Bring that body to you. Come on, Jake, you gotta get this. You gotta get it, Jake. Yes.
Yes, inside trip.
Wenzel running out of real estate, no points awarded as the wrestler's clearly out of bounds.
When you have a wrestler like Wenzel who likes to go underhooks and jack up, what David McFadden has to do is circle. Because if he goes standing straight up against him, that's going to go right into Wenzel's game. So he's got to lower his level and continue to circle as opposed to being straight up.
Wenzel won a couple of state championships wrestling for South Park right here in the Keystone State.
Right now, this is the match that Wenzel wants. He wants the underhook. He wants to control the head, the back, technical violation.
It's going to be grabbing the headgear.
1 point red for grabbing the headgear.
Technical violation given, a look of disbelief on Jake Wenzel's face. McFadden pointed to it right away. And a 1 point lead for David McFadden. Wenzel comes right back at him, lunging with that underhook. Right side of the body of McFadden.
Hey, you wrestling scholars, you shouldn't be surprised with, calls being made about pulling the headgear, because if you call Mark Hall and Zahid Valencia had a great semifinal match that was decided on the pulling of the headgear. So these calls are made and they're called in finals.
It has been a prominent part of the sport for years. Stalemate with 27 seconds to go. The technical violation, the only point in this opening period.
Wentz has done a good job of controlling the center.
Shot comes up empty by McFadden late. Now can Wenzel spearhead some offense, running out of time. Looks like McFadden's in a pretty good spot just to sit steady, and he'll be content with a 1 point lead after 3 minutes.
So let's see if we can see where that grabbing of the headgear happened. Fingers in there, that's pretty significant. Yeah. And David McFadden also pointed to it. And what did Wenzel do? He shook his fingers like, my fingers got stuck.
Wrestlers start on their feet. Submarine in is McFadden. Waterfall position immediately by Wenzel. And here comes a scramble that McFadden has come out on top so many times throughout his career. This is where he is so dangerous. Scramble situations. Rolling his way through. Wenzel stayed with him. And Wenzel gets the 2. How about that from Jake Wenzel, beating McFadden at his own game?
That's Pennsylvania wrestling right there. Pennsylvania wrestlers, they're great on the mat, and they can roll with anybody. They're patient, and that's what exactly Wenzel did. He stayed patient, not getting himself out of position, and when he saw the opportunity to score, he scored.
Wenzel's a real smart athlete. He is already enrolled in the business school at Pitt as a junior. Worked a ton on his technique following the ACL injury. Spent a ton of time in the training room to make the speedy recovery and being rewarded with an appearance in the ACC finals. Working that cross-face on McFadden. 2-1, Wenzel on top. Picking up some valuable riding time. Has a leg in. What would you like to see Wenzel do from this position, the cross body?
Wenzel's doing a good job of keeping his hips up, and it's just a hustle right now. Who's going to get their hips higher? It's a hustle. And right now it looks like David McFadden is trying to get, but out of bounds, and it looks like there was no loss of control. Wenzel, as you said before, Sean, patient, did not panic, and stayed in control and accumulating the riding time.
Year number 3 for Keith Gavin. He won a national championship in his competitive days at Pitt. A chance to coach his alma mater, and what a job he has done. Quick turnaround for the Panthers in year 3 for Gavin. McFadden underneath, trying to roll. Short time wrestling. Down to 7 and 6. Clock moving. McFadden takes a quick glance up. Wenzel not relinquishing his hold, and he'll get a nice round of applause from this Petersen events crowd.
And here we just have scrambling, and then Wenzel comes out on top. Good body awareness. And the coaching staff appreciates good wrestling.
Jordan Lean, the assistant, as well in the pit corner. Happy with what they're seeing from their junior, Jake Wenzel. Minute 33 and counting of riding time for Wenzel. McFadden having a tough time getting out from underneath.
Wenzel's got a modified crab ride here. And what you have to do to get on a crab ride is isolate one of the legs and pop to the other side.
Boy, he's just been a sponge on top. He's absorbing everything McFadden's throwing at him. Continues to ride tightly. And this is not an easy athlete to be on top of. Championship coverage at 174 next. Bullard of NC State, Lout of North Carolina.
Very important. When you saw the swipes by the official, that wasn't for back points. You'll say that wasn't 45 degrees. It wasn't, but it was a side headlock. He had the arm and head, and if you have to release that within 5 seconds.
Jake Wenzel building a mountain of riding time. He's already over 2.5 minutes. He is riding a 2-time ACC champion, a 3-time All-American. What an effort by Wenzel. Just giving McFadden no room to work.
McFadden's got to create a scramble here. Moving one step at a time is not helping him. He's got to find out something and just start to wrestle and create action. Easier said than done. But Jake Wenzel is doing a great job here.
This high-knowledge wrestling fan base in Pennsylvania is going to appreciate what just transpired here. 3 minutes of consistent riding time. A late scramble, but the match ends. No points awarded toward the end when it looked like McFadden was close maybe to getting a reversal.
They need to check that out, and good call by the officials to look at it. That was close.
It was closer than I thought, to be honest.
That was close. I mean, I'm surprised, and it's a good job that the officials decided not to wait for the brick and said, we're going to talk about it. And what happened, and this is when the fans can hurt you, because the fans were clapping, and when you clap, they were clapping a little too early, so he started to relax a little bit. And when he did, that's when McFadden swiveled his hips. So we're going to look at to see where the time was, and did he not just get in and escape? Did he get control?
And this is an official's review, so that's why the two officials are over by the TV monitor. This was not a challenge from the corner. The officials have the option to take a second look at it, and that's what they have done in this instance to make sure that McFadden did not get the 2. So here's what's at stake. If McFadden gets the 2, You factor in the riding time, and all of a sudden, Rock, we're into a sudden victory. So a big call coming here. No reversal. Call stands, riding time point, and your ACC champion from Pitt is Jake Winsel.
Good job. He rode out a 3-time All-American for the 3rd period. Just not physically, but mentally, that is just a great accomplishment. And he's looking like he's ready to win, not just now at the ACCs, but to become an All-American. Good job by the Pitt wrestling staff to coach him up for this match.
That has become a familiar sight the past 3 years. Hayden Hidley for the 3rd consecutive season, clinching an ACC title, and with it, North Carolina State has clinched their 2nd straight ACC championship. A perfect regular season. They go 15-0 in duels, a perfect 5-0 in the ACC, and now a 7-point lead. And the Wolfpack wrestlers up in the suite, anxiously awaiting a celebration, but they still have some unfinished business. They're still looking to crown more individual champions here in this 2020 run. And you look at the job that NC State has done this year. One of 2 remaining unbeatens in the college wrestling landscape. Iowa, top ranked, the Hawkeyes loaded, the other team. But NC State going through the dual portion of the season unblemished, and now taking care of business in a loaded ACC in this championship format.
You always want to end the season on a strong note. They had momentum since the beginning of the season in November, kept it going in December, and is closing it out in March as an ACC dual meet and individual team tournament champion.
One of the big reasons for their success this year, the Bullard twins. Thomas was knocked off earlier today, but Daniel, after his 3rd place finish a year ago, looking for an ACC title. Bullard, the 2-time NCAA qualifier, who twice has went 1 and 2 at nationals, matched up against Clay Lout, the redshirt sophomore, who's had a day to remember, the number 4 seed. Knocked off top-seeded Greg Harvey by tiebreaker 5-4. Now Lout with a shot to wrestle against Bullard for the ACC title.
When you wrestle the Bullards, either one of them, you have to finish quickly. If you take a shot and you get stuck, they will make you pay for it. So Lout has to get to his offense quickly and finish quickly.
Lout was a 3-time Kansas State champion at St. James Academy. Had 37 pins his senior year. Shoots in on Bullard,
and he finished quickly. That's exactly how you wrestle a Bullard. You get in and you get behind them quickly. You don't give them a chance to start rolling around and locking things up. Good start for Lout.
Loud has really been good in his first full year in the Tar Heel starting lineup for Coleman Scott. At 1 point this year, he was 8-0 in duels. He finished 3-2 in ACC competition. Always has had the skill set, just lacked the confidence and the belief in the past, but I'd say that is well behind him. His push into the ACC finals and a quick 2-1 lead on Bullard, veteran for NC State. Now trying to establish the underhook, left side of Bullard's body.
Now go. Attack rate's got to go up.
You can see the identity of the UNC wrestling team, particularly the identity of their head coach, Coleman Scott. They lower their levels and drive through.
You mentioned the identity of Coleman Scott. How many times did he do that in the Cowboys singlet in his day? That patented straight on double. Although this time Bullard was able to defend it quite well. And here comes a brick from assistant coach Tony Ramos.
A little late blurk. You saw Coach Ramos looking to get confirmation from his head coach to throw the brick. And so I'm assuming that they're going to look to see if that was a takedown. But as we mentioned earlier in the 141 match, Coach Ramos has to be absolutely clear on what he's looking for.
Let's take another look.
So he lowers his level, drives right through. He falls on his butt. And I can't see to see if he has both legs or not. He's reaching across now. That may not constitute control. But the question is, when he first got that shot in, did he get both of the legs? Let's see. That's the first takedown, where he got the high C and cut the corner. And that's how you got to finish with a bullet. You got to finish quickly. But the second one, he lowered his level, drove right through, and bullet fell right to his butt. Was it beyond reaction time? That's what the video reviewer is looking to determine.
Tony Ramos, a three-time All-American for the Hawkeyes, capped off his NCAA career, winning a 2014 NCAA title at Iowa. He retired this past year from the sport. Time-honored tradition, leaving his shoes in the center, and ironically, it happened right back in Raleigh.
And the call was confirmed that it was no takedown.
North Carolina loses a challenge. Here comes Bullard on the hunt. Cut off effectively by Laut. 2-1, Laut with the lead. 35 seconds to go first period. Comes right back at him. Boy,
now he's got to come up quickly.
When he commits to that shot, he is tough. And for the second time, he's figured out a takedown and a 4-1 lead. Bullard up into a quick stand-up immediately. See if Laut is able to ride to close out this first period. That would be big for UNC, and he'll get a start in the center.
He has figured it out. He's timing his shots, he's lowered his level, and once he lowers his level, he drives right through. He has a quicker step than Bullard right now. 16 seconds left. Pretty important to see if he can get a ride out.
Unable to do so. Nice job by Bullard to get the one. Something to build on moving toward the second period. 4-2 Laut behind a couple of first period takedowns.
Doing a good job of being on his feet. Laut lowering his level and driving right through. He took his time, tabled the leg, and caught the roll through and followed back. Now, good decision that I see by Laut and the coaching staff is to not go underneath the Bullards. They are absolutely hammers on top. And it makes sense because Laut has done a good job on his feet, lowering his level and shooting through.
Flip of the disc came up red. Bullard deferred, so Laut says, let's start on our feet. Second period, 4-2, the number 4 seed for North Carolina, putting together quite an afternoon and evening here in the Steel City.
This is when fatigue can start to set in because Laut was getting his offense outside of tying up. Generally, when people get tired, they start to hang. So Laut needs to keep that distance like he's done in the past and lower his level and shoot like he's been shooting in the first period. But when you get tired, you start reaching and hanging, which starts to slow things down, which is advantageous for Bullard. He's got to clear the ties. Bullard's doing a good job of closing the gap.
Bullard for the first time on the offense. In with that single, trying to switch. Still has the leg. Defensive mechanism coming right over the top. Down the slide goes Laut.
He's going to put him in a dangerous position right here.
A neutral danger zone, a possibility. No count yet from the official. Here's Bullard sticking with it.
Good heavy hips by Laut.
Laut sprawling back, extending that hip pressure forward, trying to defend this shot by Bullard. He's worked himself into a pretty good position on the mat. He gets the stalemate whistle. Nicely done by Clay Laut.
Confidence on both people. And when I say confidence, because it shows that Bullard can get in, but it also shows that Laut can defend the shot.
Laut has proven to us he can get in. He's been in on a couple of times. He might not have enough to finish this particular shot. He won't. The period ends and a 2-point advantage for Clay Laut. The redshirt sophomore grew up in Kansas, He was the Dave Schultz High School Excellence Award winner. That's the top wrestler in the state of Kansas. His senior year, has a Greco background as well. He was a member of the USA 2016 team that competed at the Cadet World Championships. We haven't seen a lot of that Greco. He's been effective on the legs so far in this title bout. Matched up with Bowler. Wolfpack gets the way, 4-3.
Bowler is just going to keep moving forward, and he's going to just start to grab and prod and get a position where he can create some type of scrambles. Lout has been great in keeping distance and shooting through, but that was in the first period. Since then, it hasn't been the same.
Maybe the matchup of the night on deck. #1 versus #2 in the country. Hunter Bolin, Trent Hidley, Virginia Tech, NC State. Second meeting this year with those two. Bolin won the first one by a point. A lot of the country will be watching that. #1, #2, that's our next match as our coverage rolls on from Pittsburgh. A lot to be settled here in this third period. Lout continues with a 1-point lead.
Lout's got to do something here because Bullet is just moving forward.
Riding time is not a factor, so Bowler can figure out a takedown, but here's Lout again, shooting straight on.
The advantage right now is Bowler because Lout has got a position where he's not moving. He's got to keep moving because Bowler will try to figure out a way to create offense.
And potentially dangerous with the leg. The official coming right in immediately. And the two wrestlers to their feet. 40 seconds to go. Daniel Bullard trying to figure out a way to get a takedown, but Lout just keeps on shooting. We've been in this position a number of times.
He's going to try and roll it over his chest. The question is, don't pull the knee out. If you pull the knee out, that could be considered as illegal. So he's pushing the foot down, and he's going to try and kick and get height.
Second straight call, potentially dangerous.
No stall calls yet on Lout. Lout needs to be careful and needs to circle. He needs to circle.
Bowler comes right at him.
He can hold out, waste time here. Watch the peek out. He's just sucking time away, hips low. UNC is looking tough here.
The Tar Heels 3 seconds away from another champion, and the fans who have made the journey from Chapel Hill are about to celebrate. What a statement by North Carolina. Clay Loud, who entered today the #4 seed. Coleman Scott described him earlier in the year as one of the cornerstones we're going to build this program around. He has turned in his finest day as a Tar Heel, an ACC champion, knocking off Daniel Bullard. And the Tar Heels celebrate another title. What a performance today at 174. Not a lot of people had Clay Lout penciled in, but guess what? He's an ACC champion, the third Tar Heel of the night. Jake Winsel won a couple of state championships right here in Pennsylvania, wrestling for South Park for the first time in his career. Less than 13 months removed from ACL surgery. He is an ACC champion at 165. Rock, here's the big one that everybody was looking forward to. It is a clash of giants, 1 versus 2 at 184. The top-ranked wrestler, Hunter Bolin, right behind him, the redshirt freshman, Trent Hidley.
This is incredibly important for seeding. Yes, the ACC championship tournament has been locked up by NC State, but this is an individual tournament where we're trying to find out who's going to get the top seed at the NCAAs.
Trent Hidley with 3 losses this year. One of them most recently was to Hunter Bolin. Lost in Raleigh in the duel, 3-1 to Bolin. Hunter Bolin with just 2 blemishes this year, but Most recently, the final regular season duel, a loss to Nino Bonacorsi. So my question for you is, if you're Trent Hidley, second go around in less than a month, what's the big adjustment to get some offense figured out?
Well, when we talked to Coach Popolizzo, they said that he needs to just be more diversified in his offense. And what that means is that Trent Hidley is known for underhooks, and he went to the underhook many times over, and Hunter Bolen just defended it well, wrestled a composed match. So we'll see if he's diversified this time around.
Hidley in the white and red. Bolen, top-ranked wrestler in the country for Virginia Tech. Local product, Floyd, Virginia, part of Christiansburg High School, which has been a steady pipeline for Hokies throughout the years. A number of big names going through Christiansburg. The Epperleys, Devin Carter, to name a few.
Seeing that Trent Hidley is moving his feet very well, and Hunter Bolen's just looking composed.
Big snap down by Bolen.
Good defense right there by Trent Hidley. When someone's on your chin, you take the hands off the chin.
Trent Hidley, just like his big brother Hayden, arrived on campus with lofty expectations, utilized his red shirt a year ago. Had a big 2019 freestyle year, earning bronze at the Junior World Championships in Estonia.
Very calculated match so far. No one wants to make a big mistake, because all it takes is one mistake and it's a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, very similar to the first period that we watched in Raleigh in the dual portion of the regular season. They hit Hidley with a stall as he comes back into the center. 58 seconds to go, first period. No score, number 1 versus number 2 in the land. A lot of people thought when Trent Hidley was winning state championships right here in the Keystone State at Mifflin County that it was automatic he would go to Raleigh to follow his big brother, but that was not the case. He had a number of options. He did not decide until late to follow the path of his brother.
Little subtleties that you see is when Hunter Bolen fakes a shot, not only does Trent Hidley get his hips away, he gets his hips away and he circles.
Virginia Tech for a moment thought maybe Hidley would get tagged with the stall, which would have been a point for Bolen, but that was continuous action that worked them out. No stall call, and we remain scoreless. First period winding down. Trent Hidley grew up in this state, and he talked about his brother Hayden and his influence on coming to Raleigh, and the fact that Hayden kind of sat back. You know, he really didn't put a lot of pressure. He said, hey, you have to figure out what is best for you. Hayden never once told him to come to North Carolina State. Now, when he made that decision, those two have become very close. In fact, Trent, a vocal leader on this team, and you see his resume, 4 wins against top 10 opponents, so it's no surprise he's becoming a vocal leader in this Wolfpack wrestling room at a young age.
At a young age. That's what's impressive, is that he has 3 more years of leadership. So if you're a leader as a freshman, generally you'll get stronger as a leader moving forward. Now for you at home, in college wrestling, there's no blood time, meaning that it's not 5 minutes. It's to the discretion of the official and how much time they have for blood.
NC State starts down with Trent Hidley. Bolen into position. Jumps off to the left side of the body of Hidley. Squeezing that waist. Gonna have to return to the mat, at least attempt to return, and they go out of bounds instead.
You said the right word, Sean, attempt. It's not just are you behind them, it's are you attempting. If you can attempt for 40 seconds, that's not stalling. Interesting position here.
Really is.
And that could be. He went to a Navy ride there.
Thunderous return as the two twist and turn their way out of bounds back into the centers. Bolin riding well.
So he was lacing on the ankle, and then he went to a claw ride, popped the hips. Freestyle would have been some points, but this is folk style.
Back exposure. Pan Am Championships taking place up in Ottawa, speaking of freestyle. What a great stretch for the wrestling fan. The NCAA is coming up, the U.S. Olympic trials in April in State College right here in Pennsylvania. Just a great month to be a fan of the sport. Olympic Games, obviously, later this summer. Highly into a stand-up. And he is away, so Highly is on the board. A 1-0 lead for NC State with the escape.
3 victories this year in his top 5
So Rod, for the second straight time with these two opponents, offense has really been tough to come by.
What we're watching right now is similar to what happened in a few weeks in Minneapolis, the NCAA finals, where guys are trying to certainly win, but they don't want to make any mistakes.
With the developments in the desert, Arizona State star Zahid Valencia, that has opened up 184. It has completely changed the game, if you will. And these two ACC wrestlers hoping to benefit. Scramble, opportunity. Bolin just missed as he tried to spring the trap.
Good.
And they will tag Highly for fleeing the mat. That's a stall call, second time. So Bolin gets the equalizer, and we're tied at 1.
It's the right call there because he clearly dove out of bounds to avoid the takedown. And there was not an argument by the NC State coaching staff because by application, he also just dived out of bounds. Good call.
Three ACC wrestlers in the top 5 at this weight class. Bonacorsi, who beat Bolin in the final regular season duel, sitting at number 5. So obviously all 3 of these ACC guys will head to Minneapolis with a world of confidence, thinking they can bring back a title to their university.
And they all are coming back next year in the ACC. And that's a deep weight class.
35 automatic allotments secured today throughout this ACC championship. Last year it was a record 37, so the uptick just continues, and expect that number to surge again in 2021.
So as we go to the third period, more than likely Hunter Bolin is going to take bottom. Is Trent Highly just going to let him go and say, let's go to our feet? Or is he going to try and ride him out for the whole period? We'll find out soon enough.
Third period, we put up a fresh 2 minutes.
Looks like he's going to try and ride him.
An escape by Highly. A stall point for Bolin. And now it's Bolin getting away quickly in a 2-1 lead. Riding time is not a factor, so Highly a takedown away.
What a chess match going on with these guys. That's one of the few shots that you see from Trent Highly take from space. I mean, most of the time his offense are in short offense or for an underhook. You try to sweep single there without touching. That's what we were talking about earlier when Coach Popolizo said diversifying his offense.
Bolin squeezing hard, and a whistle comes in. And I believe more blood. It is a blood timeout. I think Bolin having some issues with his nose, so they will stop the action. Get Hidley all cleaned up. He'll have some time to readjust as well. Don't forget the ACC tournament starts Tuesday, and Packer and Durham will be in Greensboro all the way through Friday. Each morning they'll get you set for the games and have a complete breakdown of the night before. Packer and Durham, 7 a.m. right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Now, Packer and Durham, they have become huge wrestling fans throughout the course of the year. You were one of their guests.
Oh, man, they asked me to referee a match between those two.
Who do you got?
My agent wouldn't let me go down there to referee. Contractual obligations kept me from it, but those guys are really opened up to the sport of wrestling, and we really appreciate what they've done for the sport in the ACC wrestling.
Only Durham would have the size. Packer might have the grit. Hidley comes in after the blood has been cleaned up. 1:05 to go. Hidley down a point, in on his deepest shot of the night.
That scoring position right here. He's going to try and put him in danger. And he's going to try and come up to the middle. He's lifting him up.
Into the air they go. No change in position. Hidley with time to work. Can he find a way to get the two?
He's got to split the legs. Split the legs, get between the legs, not to the side. He's got to get between the legs and work through the middle.
And a stalemate is called. How about that from Hunter Bolin?
Man, that was just strength and poise.
Back into the center. Hidley with a quick collection of thoughts. Here we go. 30 seconds for the ACC title and possibly the top seed at the NCAAs in Minneapolis. Front headlock by Bolin, cranking the pressure, and the official will come in quickly. That's good news for Hidley and a fresh start. Trent Hidley looking toward his corner. Pat Papalizio with the instructions.
No stall calls against Bolin either.
Nope, he has not been tagged once. Hidley comes launching in. Bolin ready for it. 10 seconds to go. Bolin won by decision 3-1 the first time they met, and now a blood timeout with 8 seconds remaining. Hayden, tense moments for the big brother. He already has an ACC title, and he knows his younger brother needs some offense quickly. And that look says it all. How about that? You know, he's already secured an ACC title, his third. His team has already wrapped up a team title, but you want to guess it by those facial expressions.
It's a helpless feeling when someone you love and care about is competing.
5 seconds to go. It's now or never for Hidley. He's looking for a last-second throw, but it's Bolin who sends him into the air. Those two wrestlers with some pleasantries late. And maybe we'll see in Minneapolis in a couple of weeks. Oh, what a great rivalry this is turning into. Bolin and Hidley, and for the second time, it's Bolin raising his arm for Virginia Tech.
And makes a statement.
From Virginia Tech.
What a statement right there. Mentally tough. He tried to throw a little hip, and he throws him down, says, I'm the best in the ACC. Hunter Bolin, your champ.
It has been a mixture and a new wave of ACC champions rising to the spotlight today in Pittsburgh. ACC champions who hope to move into Minneapolis and bring back a national title to their university. One of those athletes at 197, the top seed, Jay Aiello. Rock, I've been telling you all season, this guy is one to keep an eye on. He has been flying under the radar all year. Sent a statement in the semifinals earlier today.
He's flown under the radar for everyone who hasn't wrestled him. But whoever's wrestled Jay Aiello knows that he is legitimate. He took second in the prestigious Midlands tournament. And not just that, the Midlands tournament is arguably the second best tournament in the country. So you have a guy like this who's starting to get better and improving. He had a couple of hiccups at the beginning of the year, but now he's wrestling like he expects to be a winner in Minneapolis.
From North Carolina, a sophomore from Dundee, Michigan,
Brandon Whitman making his appearance on the championship floor, the sophomore from Dundee, Michigan. It's a wrestling family. His father wrestled at Blissfield in the 80s. And can he be the guy to slow down what has been Mr. Offense of late, Jay Aiello? The ACC runner-up from a year ago, the 2019 NCAA qualifier, the top seed for the second straight year, and he enters on a roll. He's won 15 of his last 16 matches, some impressive wins along the way, knocked off Iowa's Jacob Warner at the Midlands, beat Ethan Laird, who was ranked 10th, knocked out Nick Reenan as well before Reenan was injured for NC State. So Aiello, who put up 16 points earlier in a Tech Fall win in a span of about 4.5 minutes, goes to work on Whitman.
And he's not going to stop. He has a good sweep single to the right leg of his opponent.
Wrestle down here, guys. Work through that. Work through that.
When talking to Coach Garland said this guy works out all the time. He's in the room, and he's doing all the right things, and he has a 3.9 GPA in econ at UVA. This guy is what you call a student athlete.
And a lot of people thought he might go the football route. He was a standout on the gridiron for Westfield. In fact, he was the state's defensive player of the year his senior year. His team winning the 6A title in Virginia, but he is the type of recruit that Steve Garland has been able to bring into Charlottesville. Not a lot of recruiting attention. Came to a Virginia camp his junior year as he gives up the 2 here to Whitman. So North Carolina surprisingly comes out with the opening 2.
Whitman is doing what the style of UNC wrestling, lowering their level and shooting when your levels are lower. You don't wait till you stand up to shoot. They lower their level and drive right through, just like Coleman Scott did in his Olympic run.
Whitman will get into position, a 2-0 lead, approaching the halfway point of this first period. But going back to Aiello, he showed up at the Virginia camp his junior year of high school. Garland saw him firsthand, loved his work ethic, loved his size and toughness, loved what he was able to do on the football field. He was able to watch the state championship football game his senior year at Scott Stadium, incidentally enough, in Charlottesville. So those two built a tight bond, and here is Aiello in his junior year, serious contender for Coach Garland to bring Virginia a national title. Cavaliers have a lot of attention on Jack Mueller at 125, trying to bring that first NCAA championship to Charlottesville. Aiello's another guy to keep an eye on at 97. 2-1 lead. Whitman with the early lead inside a minute to go in this first period.
Whitman seems composed. There's that sweep single. Ooh, man, that was really, really slick.
Yeah, he comes in at that angle and that curvature of the sweep, and immediately going for a possible tilt, trying to control the wrist underneath. Has the wrist locked up. A couple of options he could work here, Rock. What do you expect to see Aiello do running out of time in this first period?
Well, what he's doing is he's going to leech on and do a claw ride, or you go from a claw ride to a half. And he's switching sides. Switching side keeps your opponent off balance. Right side, left side, right side, left side. But he's keeping wrist control, which is pretty important as well.
3-2 lead for Aiello. Not only a talented wrestler, but very smart off the mat. A 3.9 GPA in economics, the NCAA qualifier and runner-up from a season ago. And really his tough stretch of the season was Vegas. Had a tough trip, finished 8th at the Keene Invitational, was battling an illness. In fact, Virginia coaches really had a tough decision whether to send him out and compete. They ended up sending him out there, and that's where he took 3 of his 4 losses on the season.
That's a lot of strength by Whitman right now to hold the huge thigh of Aiello around. That's man strength.
2 on the reversal, and Aiello has rang the bell for 5 unanswered points. Just surrendering the early takedown to Whitman.
Good job, Jay.
In this position, height wins, but it looks like they're going to work for a stalemate.
Brandon Whitman in his sophomore year. He has not utilized a redshirt. He was an NCAA qualifier as a true freshman last year. Went 0-2 here in Pittsburgh.
And UNC believes that Whitman has his best days ahead of him.
Absolutely. Brought in a new roommate this offseason, and Austin O'Connor, the All-American who won an ACC title earlier tonight. Thought was to have two competitors spend more time around one another, both on and off the mat, improve the smallest of details in both lifestyle and wrestling, and that has been a good move for Whitman this year.
Jay Aiello is doing what's literally called the cross-body ride. People say put legs in, but it's really a cross-body ride. Cross-body rides are effective when you go diagonally across the body and get your hips away from his hips. So you don't want to just cover. You want to try to scoot what Aiello is doing, trying to scoot his hips across the mat. And he's using the right foot to push and elevate.
Successful ride closing out the second period by Aiello.
Let's see what Whitman does. Does he go underneath again, or is he going to try and go to neutral where he got his takedown?
Brandon Whitman will look toward the Tar Heel corner. North Carolina with 3 ACC champions tonight, and it will be Whitman to start on his feet. And Aiello comes right at him. Shoots in. Whitman into the waterfall right over the top. Aiello in the sit out. Let's see what he can do. Quick turn in 2 for Jay Aiello. 7 unanswered.
Coach says let him go. So looks like we might get a stalemate here.
You start thinking big picture, Rock, in Minneapolis at 197. Colin Moore, clearly the favorite, unbeaten this year. He is Mr. Offense with what he can do in this weight. Then you have Noah Adams, the unbeaten wrestler from West Virginia. But if you're Jay Aiello, obviously Moore is going to get a lot of the ink, and rightfully so, heading to the NCAAs.
Well, if Aiello needs hope against Moore, they got to think to what happened a couple years ago. Looks like we could be got the takedown. Everyone, when they go to nationals, everyone's 0-0. So rankings don't mean anything. It's all about wrestling. And so when you go out there, you just got to be fresh and continue to wrestle hard the whole time. So yes, Colin Moore is unquestionably the best wrestler at 197 this year. But that doesn't mean he will end up as the best wrestler at 197, because there's 4 matches or 5 matches he has to win to be a national champion.
All the drama in Minneapolis once again unfolding on our ESPN Networks. Going to be a lot of fun. The NCAA championships. Potentially dangerous. Aiello in control, a 9-3 advantage, 24 seconds to go.
Keep building, Jay.
You heard the coaches, staff for UVA say keep building, Jay, meaning keep wrestling. Don't be satisfied. He wants to get one more takedown to try and get the major decision.
Get this, Jay.
I think it's safe to say Steve Garland certainly found a diamond in the rough in Jay Aiello coming out of Westfield High School. An ACC champion for the Cavaliers, and Garland has been telling you all year, keep an eye on Jay Aiello. The Cavalier captures the ACC title for Virginia. A year after a near miss, Virginia wins the title at 197. Jay Aiello heading to Minneapolis. He'll be a name to keep an eye on, trying to bring glory back to Charlottesville. Perhaps the most talented depth that the ACC has to offer at 184. Hunter Bowl and Virginia Tech, but you see both NC State with Trent Hidley and Pitt represented with Nino Bonacorsi. The Wolfpack have wrapped up their second straight title, 81 points. Pitt sitting second, North Carolina in the number 3 spot, and we finish the ACC Wrestling Championship with a showdown between the top seed and the number 2 seed, and it will be Pitt and North Carolina State. There is Deontay Wilson. I don't know, Rock, there might not be anybody hotter right now over the second half of the season than this young man from Amityville, New York. The sophomore certainly has wrestled his best late for Pat Popolizio.
When you have a world medalist like Nick Wisdowski in your wrestling room and you're wrestling him every day, you're bound to get better. And there's been a big step from his freshman year to his sophomore year. He's moving light on his feet. He has huge legs, but very light on his feet.
He was the hero in the duel against North Carolina in front of 4,300 strong inside the Reynolds Coliseum. He sent that crowd into a frenzy with a 5-2 win in a heavyweight bout to keep the Wolfpack perfect. Here is Demetrius Thomas, ranked number 8 in the country. Thomas at 20-3, and he is not your traditional heavyweight.
For you all that are watching this match, count how many times he shoots throughout this whole match. And we're looking at a heavyweight. We're not talking about a 25-pounder. Just watch Demetrius Thomas and how often he takes shots.
Thomas with 3 losses this year. Lost to Mason Paris of Michigan, a tight setback to Chase Singletary of Ohio State. But those were back early on in the season. He has won 12 of his last 13. And we're off and running. Final bout of the night, the heavyweight collision for ACC supremacy, and it is Thomas with the leg.
Gonna bring it back to the center and take his time. He's got 2.5 minutes to get a takedown.
Looking for the trip. Thomas cinching up the 2. Demetrius Thomas, like he has done so often the past couple of years since arriving at Pitt via the NAIA route. He was a national champion his freshman year at Williams Baptist University. Was a runner-up his sophomore year. Keith Gavin with a connection at Williams Baptist, knew the head coach, saw the activity. He was such an active heavyweight that Gavin thought he'd take a chance, and that's a move that certainly has paid off.
Paid off, and not just that, an unbelievably wonderful person, because the Pitt coaching staff want to keep him around just to be a positive influence to everyone.
One of those guys who really didn't pick up the sport of wrestling until later on, didn't start competing until his freshman year in high school, which for a lot of these athletes, that's late in the game. As a result, did not get a lot of Division I interest coming out of high school, McClure High School in Ferguson, Missouri.
Who else is battling here? But when we talked to Coach Lean, he said that Demetrius Thomas is not your typical heavyweight, where he would say you got to weather the storm, hang in there, he'll start to slow down. Coach Lean laughs that off and says that he gets stronger as the match goes on. His offensive output increases.
I got a chuckle in our conversation with Pat Popolizio this week, and talking about Deontay Wilson, and you mentioned Nick Wisdowski, the great heavyweight for NC State, started his career at Binghamton and followed Popolizio to Raleigh. And at the start of the year, Nick wasn't too excited to get some work in with Deontay, but toward the tail end of the year, the big Gwiz enjoyed his time with Deontay Wilson, the improvement he made, and the ability to spar each and every day inside that Wolfpack wrestling room. It's pretty high praise from the Gwiz.
It is. It is. And Gwiz is trying to make an Olympic team. And so he wants to make sure he has the right training environment.
You like what you're seeing from Deontay Wilson after surrendering the early takedown?
Yeah, he's holding position. He's staying in the center mat. You know, got the first takedown. Now it's on to the next point.
First period in the books. Takedown by Thomas and a 2-1 lead. Will be Wilson taking the down position underneath. Thomas riding with the tight waist. Switches to the claw.
You see how Demetrius Thomas went from one side to the other. That's important. Keep the bottom wrestler off balance. And he goes to the other side.
Pretty good position for Wilson to get away, but look at Thomas and his strength. That's a big body. He returned to the mat, and Deontay Wilson, a big and powerful athlete.
And now Deontay Wilson has to work again. Got to take it down now. He's got to stand up, try to get up.
A lot of energy being exerted underneath, and this time Wilson is successful. He gets away. We are tied at 2, but Thomas able to get over that 1 minute of riding time, so a pretty effective ride by the Pitt senior.
Indeed, indeed. Knowing what's going on in the mat is important. Knowing what your riding time is.
Thomas comes firing in, has the single, and he brings Wilson down at 2. And Demetrius Thomas, for the second time, rattles off the takedown.
The input, the output is starting to pick up.
And that's what makes him so fun. His tempo, his pace, the oxygen levels, one of those heavyweights that just keeps getting stronger and stronger the deeper you go into a match.
I wouldn't be surprised if he let him up and try and take him out again. You just never know with Demetrius. He's all offensive minded. But with 21 seconds left, getting ready for nationals, you got to learn how to keep someone down.
15.
On a night that has witnessed North Carolina State and Pat Pompalizio wrap up their second straight ACC championship, can the heavyweight Wilson, who's making his ACC debut, cap it off with an exclamation point? If he's going to do it, he's going to have to rally as we march to the third. Thomas, a 4-2 lead. Wilson
got the 2-on-1. He's isolating the left side of the body.
Has that baseball grip on the wrist.
And he's putting pressure on the shoulders.
Thomas wisely able to clear his arm out of harm's way. Slowly rises to his feet. Deontay Wilson still latching on to the leg. Elevates that leg, trips the leg, and brings Thomas down. Had him nearly on his back for a moment. Thomas, though, able to get back to safety and get to his base.
He landed right on his shoulder.
It's a lot of weight coming down to the shoulder of Demetrius Thomas. Appears to be all right. Wilson hoping to get some type of turn, some type of exposure. That's his only chance. And again, he brings Thomas down violently. And that one might have stung Demetrius Thomas, judging by his face. Grimacing a little bit, taking a few extra moments to get back into the center.
You heard him grunt once he got thrown to the mat.
Yeah, that one definitely stung him. Let's keep an eye on that as Wilson goes back to work. A punishing ride by the young sophomore from New York.
Still red. Still red.
Smart wrestling. He got him down under the riding time, and Deontay Wilson is having a nice ride. Now he's going to let him up and seeing what can be done. Now he needs 2 takedowns now. It's a 5-2, no riding time.
Able to wipe out the riding time advantage, but as Rock alluded, Couple of takedowns, and that might be tough to come by against Demetrius Thomas.
Here's what we're talking about Demetrius Thomas. There's no need to really shoot because Deontay Wilson hasn't shown that he's taken a shot in the match. But Demetrius Thomas continues to shoot.
A low shot by Wilson, has the leg. Again, he needs a little bit of help, though. He'll get the 2 here, still trailing by a point. Thinking over his options and time dwindling down, and Pitt successfully defends their title from a year ago. Demetrius Thomas, he took some blows late, but Keith Gavin as an ACC champion. The heavyweight, the NAIA transfer, 2 for 2 in these ACC championships.
Good job. Granted, a win is a win. Maybe not the win that Demetrius Thomas wanted, but that was a nice, controlled match. Demetrius Thomas doing what he does, shooting and scoring, looking to do some great things in Minneapolis.
A quiet Sunday night at the University of Pittsburgh here in Oakland. Spring break for the Panthers, and the ACC Wrestling Championship Finals are in the books. And for the 2nd straight year, it is the Wolfpack of North Carolina State. 81 points for Pat Papalizio and company. They outdistanced Pitt. It was tight. The Panthers finishing 2nd, picking up some late points from Demetrius Thomas and his heavyweight championship. North Carolina finishes 3rd. The evening started with a bang. The redshirt freshman from Connecticut, Jacob Camacho, knocking off last year's NCAA finalist in Jack Mueller. And then Pitt got on a roll. Mickey Philippi successfully defending his title. Philippi taking care of business. The Panthers crown their first champion. Get ready for that powder blue. Not 1 but 2 for North Carolina. It started with Zach Sherman at 141. He captures his first ACC title. And then last year's returning All-American Austin O'Connor. He was a 3rd place finisher at Nationals here in Pitt. Today he raises his arm for the first time. 3 was the magic number for Hayden Hidley, looking for his 3rd consecutive ACC title, and he took care of business. The Flex, the ACC championship for the junior from NC State. Hey, how about a 4 seed getting into the mix? That's what Pitt was able to do with Winsell, to the ovation of this Petersen event crowd. Speaking of 4 seed, Clay Lout, the same thing. A hard-fought win, the celebration for North Carolina. The matchup of the night featured number 1 versus number 2, and in the end, it was Hunter Bolin for the 2nd time. A tight, low-scoring bout. It goes to Bolin 2-1. Maybe the most significant win for J.I.L.O. after 16 points in the semis. He takes care of business for Virginia. Steve Garland with a finalist. And then it was Demetrius Thomas, the smile that Pitt fans have certainly gotten used to throughout the years, capping off a Pitt ACC title. Jacob Camacho started the festivities tonight with an ACC championship, your first run through. First off, congratulations.
Thank you.
You came out ready to go against Jack Mueller. Take us through the strategy coming into this one tonight.
Well, strategy really was come in, put it out on the line, be fearless, just be me. And I like to go out there, I like to score points, I like to wrestle. I want to wrestle for 7 minutes hard, and I did that for 7 minutes, and I was able to come out on top. I'm proud of how I was able to do it, and I'm looking forward to a good future. So throughout the course of the freshman year, it can be a grind. Your first time through at the collegiate level. Was there a turning moment for you, a conversation with Coach Papalizio that enabled you to turn the corner and really finish the season strong? Yeah, there's definitely tough times in the beginning of the year, but probably turning point is probably after the Southern Scuffle. I pretty much just had a conversation with the coaching staff, and I said, hey, I haven't lost sight of my goals. I still want to go out there, and I want to be a national champion. They said, I understand. There's some things you need to do, turn it into a lifestyle, and just do what you do. Go out there and wrestle hard for 7 minutes. You do it every day in practice, so if nothing changes, go out there and wrestle as hard as you can, give it your all, and let the results take care of themselves.
Jacob, what was the biggest difference between the first time you wrestled Jack Mueller as opposed to this time? Obviously, you went at him, but what did you notice different between the first match in the dual meet and this match?
I think I just trusted myself a little more in this match. The first match, it was a big match. He's number 2 in the country for a reason. He's a returning national finalist. He's a great competitor. He wrestles hard. But I think going into this match, I just went out there and said, listen, I do this for a living. This is what I love to do. The only thing I really, truly enjoy to do is to go out there and wrestle 7 minutes every time I step out on the mat, and I do that hard. And I went out there and I put it on the line. All I want to do is just be fearless and wrestle.
You clearly are fearless. So what are your goals for Minneapolis?
Minneapolis, I shoot for the stars, man. I want to go out there and I want to win national title. I mean, Spencer Lee is one heck of a wrestler, and you know, why not shoot for the best? I want to be there one day, so my goal is to go there and wrestle as hard as I can every single time I step out on the mat. Truth is, we only get 4 years at this, and I want to make every single match count. So personally, my goal is to become an All-American, national champion, but on a smaller scale, on an everyday scale, I just want to go out there and be the best person I can be every single day, best version of me, better than the one yesterday. I want to be able to look myself in the mirror after Minneapolis and say, I did everything I can, and I'm proud of myself.
Well, I'll tell you one thing for certain. Danbury High School has been well represented at North Carolina State. Kevin Jack, a 3-time All-American. Congratulations. Good luck in Minneapolis, an ACC title.
Thank you, sir.
Jacob Camacho and the Wolfpack as NC State takes care of business. They go through the regular season unblemished, and now the Wolfpack celebrate their 2nd consecutive ACC title, and the celebration begins in what has been a year to remember in Raleigh, and the job that Pat Papalizio has done with the Wolfpack. Consistency, Rock, throughout the years. He had those great recruiting classes come in. Consistency spread out over a number of years, and now the results all coming together for NC State. Pat Papalizio joins us here at the broadcast booth. Last time we chatted, it was fresh off another regular season title. Now you capture your 2nd straight ACC championship. It was an up and down battle throughout the course of the day. Take us through the emotions right now.
Yeah, absolutely. This conference has come a long way in a short period of time with the coaches that we have here in conference, and it was definitely a battle. I think if you get through that first round in semis, there's a lot of times there's some separation, and guys were constantly fighting, and there was teams scoring points left and right. So hats off to the guys. Everybody stayed focused, and I think this is going to make us all better come NCAA tournament.
We have to talk about the young man we just had here in Jacob Camacho, and I sense some excitement in your voice earlier in the week in the phone call that this is a young star to keep an eye on, and boy, did he ever deliver. What were you thinking when he came out and got those early shots in on Mueller?
It was his style. You could tell his confidence was building in the last several weeks in our room, and then this week he was very focused and let things fly out there. And he had a tight match with him in Raleigh probably 2 months back, and I think he built some confidence on that and knows his ultimate goal is to wrestle his best come NCAAs. And when you can beat a national finalist like that, I think it really should give him a lot of confidence going into that tournament.
Coach, so you just came off your 2nd title. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
What are you all working on as you get ready for Minneapolis?
I think, you know, if you look overall today, it was great. We scored points. We won as a team. Guys, you know, made that transition from a dual meet to a tournament. But I don't think it was our best wrestling as a team today, and we don't want that. We want to still be able to win. We wanted to win some more matches here in the finals and in the semis. But ultimately, I know we haven't hit our peaking point yet, and I think that's a good thing, because in years past, I think this was some of the years where we peaked a little bit too early, and I'm excited to see what the guys have left in them.
Great.
Well, the bar is certainly being set high in Raleigh. Congratulations. What a year to remember. You go through unblemished throughout the course of the regular season. Only 2 teams did that in all of college wrestling, and you cap it off today in Pittsburgh with another ACC championship. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Pat Papalizio and the Wolfpack getting the job done once again. It hasn't happened since the 01-02 seasons, the last time NC State has won back-to-back titles, but guess what? They have done it once again this year. That's the story from Pittsburgh. For Rock Harrison, I'm Sean Kenny saying so long from the Petersen Event Center and the 2020 ACC Wrestling Championship. Stay tuned for an encore presentation of the ACC Men's Swimming and Diving Championship. That's coming up next. Good night from the Steel City.